G'day, we're looking at expressions in After Effects. The very, very basics of expressions in After Effects, really just that expressions do exist and that I hope that you can bring them into your practice in some way. Firstly, we're going to have a look at applying an expression and a particular way of applying an expression to a property. And we're also going to have a look at the copy property links. Now, expressions are a kind of code. It's a coding language. Expressions are written in JavaScript. Don't panic too much about that. And they're kind of like a script, but it's a script applied to a specific property and a property only. So we can apply a piece of code to the rotation layer, the rotation property of a layer, for example. What we're going to do first is we're going to apply or attach one property to the property of another layer. So for example, I could come down or get the cheese and the barrel rotation layers out. I'll just hit R on the keyboard and I'm going to pickwick this rotation layer to the rotation layer of the cheese. All right, now that's going to make the rotation layer of the barrel highlight in red, which indicates that I've applied an expression to that property. And if I just swirl that down, you can see that I've applied an expression. So this is a little line of code that's been sort of inserted into that rotation layer. Now I can access that code by clicking on it and I can adjust it if I want. I can also disable it here, so turn it off and on. And I can also access more expressions, little lines of code, by clicking on this little button here. The other area I could access expression controls is up under animation. There's a few, I can remove that expression if I want to, like so, and that will take it out. I'm just going to undo that to show you how that is actually, or what that's actually doing. It's creating this relationship between these two layers where the rotation of the cheese property will also control the layer of the barrel property. So it's the rotation property, it's a transformation that's taking place, and we're linking here in this comp, this particular layer, to the cheese layer. So if I rotate the cheese, it's actually also going to be rotating the barrel at the same time. So you can imagine you can have control layers that could control a whole bunch of different layers and mean that you only have to do a certain amount of keyframing rather than keyframing every layer. Now I am going to just remove that now, and I'll just go up to animation, remove expression, and demonstrate how we could set up a control layer to control a whole bunch of other layers. And I'm going to use a null to do that. So I'm going to go up to the layer, new, and add a null. I might put that up the top there and rename it, hitting return on the keyboard to control layer. So I'm going to get this control layer to be the sort of boss of all these other layers here in terms of rotation anyway. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to come across, I'm going to pull out the rotation property of control, R on the keyboard, and I'm going to go up to edit, copy with property links. And I'm going to copy that, right? So I'm copying the property link of this null, and I'm going to select all my other layers here, and I'm going to edit, I'm going to paste that property or link. When I do that, I'm going to be linking the rotation property of the control layer to all those other layers down below. And if we have a look at the rotation layer of maybe a couple of them, we'll see that they're highlighted red, and it's actually applied an expression pretty similar to the one that we looked at before. And it's what is it saying? It's looking at it's attaching itself to the rotation transformation property within this particular comp, and it's linking within this comp, one property links the control layer. And so now if I go and rotate the control layer, you can see that it is indeed rotating each of, or it is controlling all of my layers within that composition, or at least the ones that I've applied or linked the rotation to. And I did that using the copy property links and pasting the property links into all of my layers. You can see there is copy with relative property links. You can actually do that from one comp in and relate it to another. So you could have a control layer in a different comp with relative links, not absolute links like I've got here, or absolute references. So under rotation here, you can see there is absolute references to specific names of layers and comps. So that's pretty good to kind of get started, I suppose. Last thing for this video is that I wanted to say that, or just point out that you can go into an expression that you've written or added to a property and make adjustments to it. So I could obviously delete this, or I could add further lines of code. I could copy and paste in code, or I could add a little bit of code to the expression. What I'm going to do now is add a little bit of maths, very, very basic maths, and I'm going to times the rotation by 2 for this particular layer, the barrel. 2. So you can see there I've put an asterisk and a 2. So it's going to apply this expression and then times that property by 2. So hopefully when we rotate the control barrel, or the control layer, excuse me, and rotate that, you're going to see that the barrel is indeed going to be spinning twice as fast as the others. So I might do that to the cheese as well. Have a look at the expression there, go into our expression, we'll times the cheese rotation by 4, and maybe go into the bottle as well. Times the bottle's rotation by 6. All right, then when we go back up to our control layer and we create a bit of animation. So maybe we'll go for 3 seconds and we'll rotate that once over the 3 seconds. You can see our bottle barrel and cheese are spinning at intervals. Take that a bit longer. Spinning at increments faster than our other objects, and we've done that just with 2 keyframes. So expressions are really about limiting or attempting to remove repetitive keyframing and kind of simplify your timeline, I suppose. do your animation with as little keyframes as possible.